Good morning. Good morning. Give everybody a couple minutes to join. Okay. Market's opening up. Let's take a look at some stuff here. Okay. So run through the main list, go through everything. So the VIX kind of finding support at 15. This could be definitely an area where we bounce. You can see here, 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 but we got to focus on price. You can see sell signals gave us a nice move down. Um, then as for the NASDAQ, this isn't, there we go. Okay, so IWM outperforming, not really much to say about it. You can see here, we're just holding the 8 or the 9 and 5. Those are the kind of the momentum levels. And typically we'll hold those moving averages as we're making a momentum move and then kind of fail at those levels. Right now, based on how we're opening and how everything is trading, it's looking like to me that this is going to be a quiet day. Um, I'm not expecting a major sell-off, none of that. SPY here, you can see we pushed well off the 9 and 5, and it's kind of like, do we really want to chase up here? Not really. Um, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we can kind of just let this play out. If you want to day trade, you can day trade. That's not my cup of tea. You can see we've got a 15-minute showing up here. Um, but yeah, so might be just a quiet day today. Uh, the one I'm most interested in right now is the Dow. So you can see here a little more clear on YM. Um, you can see here we had an inside day yesterday after this nice move up on high volume. Now we're trading inside the range here. We kind of broke this shorter term downtrend, and now we are starting to trade in like higher lows. Okay. So we're printing two inside days. We've got all-time highs, which I think this is a more accurate picture. Yep. We've got all-time highs right up here. So we are not far away at all. So in my opinion, for us to just fail from here, I'd be pretty surprised for that to happen. I would be, yeah, I would be pretty surprised if we just ended up failing from here. I do think the Dow is going to make a new high, and then from there we'll have to reevaluate. I don't know if we'll pull back. We might. Markets are getting really extended, but this is also a lockout rally. So let's take a look at the last time we've had that. You have this major correction, then you have a lockout rally, and that's what this looks like right here. But you can see here we had this nice move up, broke through the highs, continued to push, pull back to the 21, and then we got a nice squeeze here that took us further, and you get pullbacks to the 21 every so often, right? So right now, we're kind of just sitting here in an area where I'm not going to add longs here. I'm not going to try and get short. You can try and day trade if you want, but the risk to reward, like if I'm going to try and day trade something, I'm going to try to get it for a position that's going to make a huge move, not just a little pop. Um, and then so we're just a little extended here. The Dow and IWM are the two things that are not extended, and the Dow still needs to make a new high. I don't expect IWM to make go and make new all-time highs uh, just yet, but I think this is a favorable pattern right here. And whenever you see, you'll see the Dow and IWM typically will move somewhat similar. The Dow is always going to be stronger, meaning making new all-time highs more than anything else. But the main thing you want to see is when you see the Dow and IWM showing some relative strength and uh, moving higher. What that really means is all that means is that the that banks are kind of leading. So an easier way to explain that. So IWM is made up of regional banks. Okay. It moves a little bit on its own because it's small caps. It's companies that don't really make money. But it will move with uh, the IWM and Dow will sometimes track together. Regional banks are what make up a good portion of the IWM. That's one of the main sectors within it. And then you also have the Dow, which is made up of XLY and XLF mainly, and then obviously technology. But uh, when you're looking for rotation and things like that, those are the things you're looking for. So right now, we're kind of seeing some similar setups in IWM. We're seeing similar setups in the Dow. So, and the Dow is near all-time highs. When we get this close, the futures are a little off, but when we get this close, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. So that's why we're long the XLF is because one, it had a setup, two, um, Goldman Sachs. So this one has a nice daily squeeze, had some nice 4 hour signals and a shakeout before the move. And then you can see JPM, same thing. And this one's continuing to go. Squeeze just fired, similar to XLF. And so I'm just looking to ride the momentum of XLF. We had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday, which if you don't study charts, you would be a little thrown off with the retracement we had yesterday. And that's natural, but you have to take into account, okay, look, we were very extended off the even the five. So a pullback to the five is pretty normal. Okay. Um, or is very normal, right? So as long as that momentum is continuing to move higher, we're still going to look for this trade to play out. And then we're going to look for, okay, where can we get some activity or entries for the Dow? I'd need a little bit more of a pullback, and it's okay if it doesn't because we're in XLF. So if the Dow ends up going making new all-time highs, we do have a we are in the relative strength sector. Um, XLI looks pretty strong here. It's got a 30-minute squeeze. This might be good for a day trade, actually. A little extended though. And then let's take a look at how's China doing. So this is the same thing here. Like, okay, so we took off, see how extended we were off the 5 and the 9 and the 21 on this day here. That's why we took profit on the options, okay? Because those are theta um we'll lose money on the move down. We'll lose money on theta decay, implied volatility contraction, all of the things, right? So when we have this stock that gaps like crazy because it's China, and we have this extended move off of the 5 EMA, and see, notice how what happened. We traded higher, waited for the 5 to catch up, traded higher, waited for the 5 to catch up, traded higher, waited for the 5 to catch up. Now we're pulling back to the 9, which is completely normal. But I'm not going to hold through a pullback. My target was initially right here, but that's a little we got pretty extended off here. And I'm in much more than just this the K-web position, right? So with that being said, all I did was we took off the options and now at 145%, now I'm holding the shares and I've got my stop at break even on all of it. And I'm gonna let the rest play out. Same thing with like XRP. We had this huge move, and then you see this retracement from the high, you get a little scared. That's just swing trading, right? Like looking at this, we are trading at, we just had a pullback to the 21 EMA. Notice the daily squeeze is over. Okay. Now we're retracing back and trading at the 21 EMA. You have to go with the ebbs and flows. And one of the things that I heard on a webinar, yeah, I think it was yesterday, was 50% of days actually, or even a little bit more than 50% of days are actually red in the market. So you, in swing trades, you're going to have to sit through plenty of red days. So just be aware of that and manage risk and just continue to trade how you should. Pretty simple. Okay, let's take a look at a few other things. In the watch list video, we talked about SPY here. It's just continuing to hold the momentum, what I call the momentum moving averages, the 9 and the 5. It's kind of like this channel here that we will bounce off of when we're continuing in a momentum market. And that's just what's happening right now. And we're continuing to do so. And same thing with QQQ. So no reason to be bearish until that changes. Okay. And then let's see. And there's nothing really to do on the indexes at this moment. Like I said, the only thing that I see to do is the YM. But then the next thing that I am looking at is technology or the semiconductors. Now, this one isn't ready yet. I think it's going to trade sideways for a little bit longer. But when we take a look at like the earnings and the earnings cycle that's coming up, and we're looking at uh where are they at? AVGO. This one has earnings coming up late August. Uh, NVIDIA has earnings late August. Okay. And you can see here this rally in earnings. This one, we were in a bear market, so it makes it a little hard. But rally in earnings, we rallied in earnings. So this ticker in particular likes to rally into earnings. So I want to pay attention to that and trade that in a way that lines with that bias and that seasonality. So if we can see some of the, um, we've got a lot of semis setting up. Like Marvel is one that people have been noting. I'm not going to trade this one. It's under the 200, and I'm not gonna. I don't want. There's a lot of other things that look better than this, so I'd rather trade something that looks better than that. Um, AVGO. This one mainly in NVIDIA too. It's the same thing. They just can't slow down whatsoever. Like they are continuing to just trade with strength, and they were getting bought up right off that 21 EMA, just over and over and over again. So in that first dip down into there, and we have a 4 hour squeeze, we have a daily squeeze. I think a very valid way to trade this would just be buy a pullback to the 9, stop below the 21, and then look for this to continue to rally into earnings. And maybe a way to play it would be AVGX, which is, I don't need to pull it up. It's the leverage ETF. Okay. There's another one I was looking at, PAN, PANW. So this one looks good as well. The only reason I have this on my radar is because the hack, which is the cybersecurity ETF, is setting up, and Pawn is the best looking one. It's got daily and weekly buy signals. So this one looks good. If it breaks 205, it's going to have a huge rally to the upside. So just keep an eye on that one. I'm a fan of that. And I think we could see a really nice move in that name as long as market complies, right? So market pulls back, we'll likely see a pullback in this name. Okay, so then So there was another one that I was looking at, Cisco. And Cisco, similar story. This one looks good. 4 hour buy signals. Um, and this one is one of those recovery stories. So you can see here that we had this massive run up in the early or between before 2000, and now we are trying to recover and move back into that new high, which I think it will. So this one looks good for a longer term swing, but I'd like to get much better entry than this. But this could be a good trade to the upside, daily swing trade. So that one looks good as well. We've got earnings coming up mid-August. Could see a rally into that earnings report, like we saw there, like we saw there, like we saw there. Uh, Not as much there, but since this recovery has begun. Um, okay, we've covered probably everything. XLP, this one does have a weekly squeeze, but it's gone nowhere for a really long time, so I'm kind of just avoiding it at the moment. And then let's see here. Look at some other things here. So XLC. Oh, Meta. Meta was one that I wanted to watch. So Meta looks good here. The reason why I didn't enter it yesterday is because I was waiting for a retest of these moving averages, which it's doing, and it's holding. So that's a bullish sign. And I was looking for a 4 hour signal, and we're starting to get that 4 hour signal. And reason being is because we pulled back above these moving averages, but sometimes we'll just flush right through and drop back below. Typically, you want to see building of higher lows. Like if you want to see a perfect ideal setup, this is what I'm talking about. You see this downtrend and see how we have this downtrend and then this downtrend is broken and then we're creating higher lows and building up with buy signals before the breakout. That's what you want to see. Okay. That is exactly what you want to see. And let me see if I can find another good example. I think Amazon was one. Like usually, like you'll see this. Okay, so look, you try and buy it in this downtrend, you're not going to do yourself any favors. But if you catch it when like you see this downtrend and this flag forming, a lot of people try and get in before this. Just wait for the trend shift, and then you'll see higher lows being built, and then it will break out. Another one that I'll show you that's a really good one. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin before its breakout. Here you go. So look, you're building lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high. And then look, we start to get, we have this shakeout, bought up, building higher lows all the way through here. And then we have the breakout. So you don't need to get in just because you see a signal and it's making lower highs. I always like to wait for the higher lows to be proven. So that's that. Other than that, Netflix, I'm not going to touch that. Amazon, little extended. But yeah, Meta, I think, is probably the one that might be worth paying attention to. So we'll keep an eye on this. Okay, Tesla's having a good day. Well, it's bouncing off the 200. What I'll be interested to see is if we can recover the 21. Because if we can recover the 21, this is likely going to end up being a shakeout and we can get long and buy calls on this. So when we're looking here, you can see here we've had one, two times, three times where we've had a move below the 21 EMA and we've held. So if we can reclaim this either this week before the close, which that would be really great. Um, More ideally next week. I'd like to see next week do it. One other one I was looking at, TM, IYR. Same thing here. Look, downtrending, and then we're instead of dropping, making a new low, we have a shakeout. on big volume, and then we're building higher lows and see how the moving averages are starting to expand. Yep. Okay. So, do you guys have any questions? Do you have anything you want me to take a look at? Any charts that you want to look at? I am interested in Meta. I really like the way Meta is setting up. But so in this case, with earnings being on Wednesday, I don't know. I might just skip it. I might just take a small position, like a really small position, like 0.5% risk on my account. Um, and I'll probably play it through METU shares. That way I don't have to play the jacked up premiums. I can hold it right into the report, so on and so forth. XLC is pulling back. This one's got a daily squeeze. Yeah, so actually this looks like, okay, so what's Google doing? Google's being bought. Nice. Another one I was looking at was KR. Yeah, that one's not doing anything. I'm really just focused on these names. I was studying my stats yesterday and this morning, and one of the interesting thing is on this list right here, I have no losses on the year. I think I've taken 8 trades, and okay, let me say that again. I had one loss in Amazon, and it was a 30-minute squeeze. But the any swing trades I've had in this list right here, I'm 100% win rate, which obviously we know win rate doesn't matter that much. But if I've got a strong edge here, kind of goes towards my commitment of why I'm trading these, only focusing on these. But yeah, Meta, let's look at some stuff here. Meta always, or not always, but usually performed really well with the signals. So Meta, let's take a look at next week's options. Yeah, the at the monies are 2K. Right. So the August for METU actually could be really good. The 45s. So let's take a look here. What's it currently trading at? Because then we can get in cheaper at a cheaper price. Yeah, I need it to rally to almost a new high in order to make. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So with what I'm doing here is that we've got if we look at Meta, we've got 4 hour buy signal printing, we've got daily signal printing. And so here's the thing. Um, we're a little uh like okay, if I use my normal stop on Meta on the daily time frame, I'm gonna need this to go trade to a new high, almost up into here. But if I use the 4 hour, I can have more of a setup like I can have much tighter risk control and not need as much of an extensive move to the upside in order to capture um, 2 to 1 within 3 days. So, like Google, we had a really, really nice rip to the upside. And so, um, after earnings, like, okay, so we got him back here, and this gave us a really nice move to the upside. And so, um, I don't know if we can get that sort of move. Well, okay, how many days was this? We got it on this day, 9%. Yeah, that was a 9% move. Oh, wait, I was looking at the date. In 13 days. So, yeah, this is 3 days. Yeah, it might just be too short of term for me for Meta. Um, I might just do Met U shares. That might be the cheapest way to play it and make the most sense. So XLK starting to move higher. Let's rerun this. So let's see how. So which ones are leading? So you can see the semis are red here, but AVGO is green. AVGO is green. NVIDIA is green. New all-time high on NVIDIA. AVGO is acting like it wants to make a new all-time high today. So yeah, it's showing relative strength against the semis, which is a pretty bullish sign. Google looks great. This could be going through what I was talking about, the repricing. We have the shares, so um, still good on that. Goldman Sachs pushing higher. That one's one of the ones that's leading actually. Where's JPM? JPM's close to flat. BRKB. What's that one doing? Yeah, that one's, I think, I would imagine that's what's pulling back XLF. XLF isn't doing anything wrong. It's just trading sideways, holding the 5. Tesla looks like it's trying to have some big volume come in. So we need it to recover. Hmm. I think Google pullback buy might be good. Goldman Sachs, this thing's ready to go push to the 1272. Seeing a lot of green. How about Meta or Apple? Apple looks pretty good here. When's earnings? Thursday next week. Microsoft Wednesday. So next week we should be through a bulk of earnings and then be good to go. Okay, volume coming in there. Let's see. AVGO, not much volume coming in. Google's got some big volume coming in. Do you guys have questions? You want things you want me to look over? I think right now we kind of just we've got XLF, our stop is set at break even, which is at um, right about here. So that's our break even stop. YM is pulling back. Okay. So the only thing that might be worth adding risk is Meta. Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I think Meta might be the only one that's worth putting some money towards. Uh, Semiconductors also are looking good. I think AVGO looks pretty good here. It's just not a ideal entry. Tesla, we'll keep an eye on. Yeah, so where can I write some notes here? So we got Meta run into, man, run into earnings. We've got YM to new highs, semis, AVGO, NVIDIA. Bot met you at 42. Nice. 42.15. Nice. You picked it up near the lows. Yeah, that one looks great. I think it'll set up for a move here soon. Um, just a matter of how much can it do before earnings. You've got about 3 days, 4 days. So a little bit of give back in XLF. It's all right. We have no risk on the table for that. YM is pulling back. Let's see. What is everything doing? Qs are doing fine. Trading right at the highs. SPY is doing fine. Yeah, we might see the pullback. We're getting extended, so let's just wait and see how today plays out. But all right, guys, thank you guys for coming. I'll talk to you soon. Message me in the chat if you have questions in the meantime. Right now, just holding XLF with a stop at break even, and then holding or looking at Meta for a potential trade. I'd like to see how the markets shape up a little bit more. But all right, guys, thank you guys for joining, and I'll talk to you soon.